Hello guys, it's Jumpy here and welcome back to another video. Today I am doing a type of video that I usually don't do here, but I felt the need to do it because this is a very serious topic that, in my opinion, needs a more in-depth review to better understand the stuff. As you may know, Doggy is not very far from getting the CBF completion of Grief, and it is expected that a massive pressure from the community will come after that to make the level rated, like what happened with Tidal Wave. However, in this case, Grief won't be verified, as Doggy is using CBF, which goes against the rules of the game, meaning that the level can't get rated. As I think that there's some stuff that hasn't been properly talked about yet, and because I can see RobTop getting unfairly criticized for not allowing the usage of CBF, I will explain why I think that RobTop, even if he wanted to, can't allow the usage of CBF before its official implementation, as it turns out that it is a lot more complex than just allowing it right away. Basically, if RobTop allowed the usage of CBF, it would mean that this level, or even this level could get rated. You will understand why later in the video. I will start by giving a brief summary of what CBF is. Click Between Frames is a mod that needs no introduction at this point. As the name suggests, it allows the clicks to be registered in frames between the 240 frame limit that is coded into the game. This has a direct effect on how the game plays, which is, of course, creating the possibility of passing through a gap that is not aligned to be possible in the 240 frame limit, as shown in the very first showcase of the mod. Implementing the mod into the game would be an ideal scenario for the entire player base, because by allowing clicks to register independently from the frame rate that you are playing on, it means that the input delay that you feel when playing is only determined by the polling rate of the device that you are using to play. Because this is not yet implemented into the game, and the current version of the game only allows clicks to be registered within the 240 frame limit, the mod is obviously considered a cheat. As if this wasn't enough, we also have a statement from RobTop, the creator of the game, confirming that it is a cheat. And as we will see next, RobTop has full power of decision in cases like this. The next thing I need to talk about is something that a lot of people that defend the usage of CBF as being legit forget to consider, which is the way how GD is structured. Geometry Dash and its servers are owned by RobTop. Unlike other games where there are communities focused on modding and creating custom levels that are downloadable through an unofficial source, in GD all the user-made levels are downloaded directly from the servers, which are an official and built-in source. Every time you make some progress on a level, that information is kept in the servers associated with your account and is visible to anyone that is playing the game. The game can detect the conditions that each player used to do those progresses. So if you complete a level legitimately, or with hitbox multiplier for example, that information is kept in the servers as if they were the same thing, when in reality they are not. The same happens with CBF. The game can't distinguish between a legit progress or a progress done with CBF. There is also no way of deleting a cheated progress on your own, which means that it could stay there forever if no one knows that you used a cheat to do it. Because RobTop is the owner of the servers, it means that he owns every information that is shown in the servers, which makes him the one that decides the rules of the game no matter what. This is also why the community has no power of decision in the game, as it would mean that people could rule something that they do not own. In the game, a level can get rated if it meets all the requirements for that purpose, and this is where this stuff starts getting complicated if CBF became allowed. To explain this part, I will need to make a distinction between two terms, rateable and rateworthy. A rateable level is a level that meets all the requirements to get rated, which are objective things, and a rateworthy level is nothing more than a rateable level that meets RobTop standards for a rating, which consists of subjective stuff. The requirements for a level to be rateable are basically not containing anything inappropriate in it and being verified. In the game, verifying a level means proving that the level is possible to be completed by a human being, following the game's rules of course. This is something objective, as you can't really have an opinion on whether or not a player completed a level, and this is the reason why the arguments that are used to say that CBF is legit fail, It's because they imply the existence of subjectiveness on an objective thing, which is not possible. As I said before, CBF opens the door for the creation and uploading of levels that are not possible in vanilla. If CBF started being allowed for verifications, that would mean that it would be possible to create rateable levels that are impossible in vanilla GD. Now, we can forget that GD is not only played by people who are well established in the community, and new players are always trying this game every day. This means that, for CBF to be allowed, the game would need an update to inform new players that some levels would be impossible without the usage of CBF. For that, it would require the inclusion of a warning for the levels that would be impossible without the mod, with a hyperlink to the download page of the mod, which would also require a system that would recognize the usage of the mod for the verification and automatically put the warning in the level when it's uploaded to the servers. Even though it seems like a good possibility at first, in fact, it does not work. The reality is that if CBF became allowed for verifications, that would imply allowing every other mod for verifications as well. But why? Well, if you think about it, assuming that CBF is allowed, if you verify a level that is only possible with CBF, the level can be described as a level that is not possible on vanilla and is only completable with the usage of an external software. However, when you look into it, that description is no different from the one of a level verified with hitbox multiplier, a macro, or even noclip. You could argue that CBF is considered allowed by the community, and the other ones aren't, but if the game needs to include a warning for levels that are only possible with CBF, it needs to have that warning to every other level verified with every other mod that alters the gameplay. Because if there's only a warning for CBF, it implies that any other physically impossible levels that do not show the warning are in fact possible in vanilla, which would be a lie. Let's suppose that you are a new player that recently started playing online levels, and you encounter a level that contains the warning for CBF. Well, the first thing you may do is download the mod, right? Sure, that's what I would do as well. But now, let's assume that you have found Satan Circles on YouTube, and decided to try it because it says impossible in the title. But when you open the level, there's no warning, because it was verified with a different mod other than CBF. And now, what would you conclude from that? Is the level possible or not? The title and the video literally show that the level is impossible, but the game doesn't tell that. What's going on? This type of situation needs to be avoided when developing a game like GD, as the way how the game works needs to be clear, welcoming and unambiguous for new players. Now, if all those mods need a warning message like CBF does, it means that they are no different from each other when it comes to what is allowed for verifications, making CBF no different from noclip or hitbox multiplier, for example. So what would the criteria for not rating a level verified with noclip, but rating a level verified with CBF be if the usage of the mods can't be distinguished? The reality is that there's no way of finding a criteria for that, exactly because they are not distinguishable. Levels that were verified with a different mod other than CBF wouldn't be unrateable only because the community does not agree with it, as the level would still meet the requirements to be rated, because it would match the description that was applied before. This would, of course, completely break the concept of completing levels, as everything would have to be allowed, and the game would be turned solely into a level editor for showcasing purposes instead of having people actually playing the levels, which is what the game is made for. It's crazy to think that a decision that would seemingly benefit the top play and the player base in general ends up destroying the whole concept of playing the game. RobTop understands this very well, and that's why he can't allow the usage of the mod before its official implementation, without making the game incoherent and ambiguous for new players. In conclusion, due to everything that I mentioned, I am sure that CBF won't be allowed before its official implementation, as it would require updating the game in a way that would completely destroy the core aspects of how the game works, turning it completely into an anarchy. RobTop completely understands what the game needs. The fact that he is not very active does not mean that he is not aware of what is going on in the community, as proven by his statement on CBF, where he said that he was already working on his version without having shown any evidence of knowing about it before. One of the secrets for the success of this game is exactly the fact that the developer gives support to the official online content provided from players to other players, and the implementation of many features that were requested over the years. We, as a community, need to cooperate with the developer in order to continue what has been built during the game's lifetime, and not the opposite. With this, I end this video. Any type of feedback is appreciated, and I would love to see some other perspectives in the comments if someone has a different one, or even a contribution or correction to what I said in this video. I would not mind doing a part 2 if needed, but yeah, I think it's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time. We can trust RobTop.